They say heroes don't always wear uniforms. Sometimes they wear dusty sandals, carry school books, and walk quietly through their village without anyone noticing. But on one terrifying afternoon in northern Nigeria, when the ground shook, walls cracked, and a school building began to collapse, everyone ran out. Everyone except one young woman. While parents screamed, while teachers shouted names, while a cloud of dust swallowed the entire school compound, Amina Musa ran into the falling building. And in that single second, her life and the lives of the children inside changed forever. Amina was only 27 years old, soft-spoken, humble, the kind of woman who would give her last meal to a stranger. She worked as a volunteer teacher at the small Kofar Doka Community School, a place built with love, hope, and old cement that had seen too many rainy seasons. She wasn't famous. She wasn't wealthy. She wasn't trained for disaster. What she did have was a heart that refused to watch children suffer. Amina grew up in the same village. She knew every parent, every student, every tiny voice that called her Auntie Amina, and she treated each one like her own younger sibling. But on that day, those voices would become echoes of fear, and Amina would become something she never planned to be: a legend. It was a hot Thursday afternoon. The sun burned through the sky. The school compound smelled of chalk dust and sand. Vendors outside sold puff-puff and roasted corn. Goats wandered lazily near the fence. The day felt normal, calm, ordinary. But deep beneath the school's weak foundation, cracks were already growing, silent and deadly. No one heard them. No one noticed, not until it was almost too late. It started with a tremor. The ground shifted just slightly, not enough to panic, but enough to make the chalk on the blackboard fall. Then the second tremor came, stronger. The walls groaned. The ceiling dust rained down on desks. Teachers shouted, "Everybody out! Out! Out!" Children screamed. Feet trampled. Chaos erupted like a bomb. Amina herded kids out with shaking hands, pushing them toward the open field. Then a sound like thunder. Boom! Part of the building collapsed inward. Classrooms shattered. Windows exploded. Dust swallowed the entrance. Teachers thought everyone was out. Parents thought everyone was safe. But then, through the loud panic, Amina heard it. A small voice. Then another. Then a cry. Children were still inside. Trapped. Alone. Terrified. And time was running out. Everyone around her shouted, "Amina, no! Don't go in! The rest of the building is falling!" The air was thick with dust. The roof groaned like a dying animal. The ground kept shaking beneath her feet. But Amina didn't see danger. She saw faces. Tiny faces she had taught to read and count. Faces she couldn't leave behind. She pulled her scarf tighter, wrapped her hands with her long sleeves, and whispered, "Lord, guide me." Then she stepped toward the collapsing building. One teacher grabbed her arm. "Amina, please!" Amina looked back with steady eyes and said the last calm words she spoke before the chaos. "They would run to save me. I must run to save them." And she broke free and ran into the dust. Inside, it was a nightmare. The hallway was dark, filled with broken wood and smoke like dust. Ceiling pieces dangled like claws. The air tasted of cement and fear. Amina covered her nose with her scarf and crawled under a half-fallen doorway. She shouted,
Aisha, Ibrahim, Musa!
"Where are you?" Silence. Then a whimper from the far corner. She moved toward it, stepping over shattered desks and broken window frames. Her sandals slipped on rubble. The floor trembled again. She found the first child, a girl, trapped under a fallen wooden beam. Amina lifted it with everything in her small body, her arms shaking violently. She freed the girl, carried her on her back, and kept moving. Another voice, a little boy crying behind an overturned metal cupboard. Amina dropped to her knees and shoved the heavy cupboard aside. She pulled him close, his tears staining her scarf. 2 rescued, but there was still one more. The building groaned. A huge crack ripped through the wall. Dust exploded into the room. She had seconds left. Then she heard it. A faint cough. The last child was a tiny boy covered by broken ceiling tiles. Amina dug with her bare hands, ripping her skin, coughing as cement filled her lungs. She pulled the boy free, grabbed him with one arm, held the others close, and ran. The exit was blocked. The front of the building had collapsed. Amina scanned the room desperately. One window remained half open, cracked, jagged, dangerous. She didn't care. She kicked it out with her foot, glass shattering everywhere, and pushed the children through it, one at a time. The last child was slipping from her hands as the wall behind her let out a monstrous roar. Amina lunged forward just as the final part of the roof came crashing down behind her and threw the child to safety. A second later, she rolled out of the window just before the entire section collapsed. Outside, parents grabbed their children, crying uncontrollably. Teachers ran toward Amina as she lay on the sand, exhausted, coughing hard, covered in gray dust from head to toe. But she was alive, and so were the children. When she finally stood up, trembling, 3 little hands wrapped around her waist. They didn't want to let go. The villagers gathered around her like she was a miracle walking on 2 feet. One elder whispered in awe, "This woman saved our future." Amina didn't call herself a hero. She simply said she did what her heart told her. But that day, in a village shaken by disaster, Amina carried 3 children out of death's mouth. And her courage became a story that the village will tell for generations. If you were standing in front of a collapsing building and you heard children crying for help, would you run the other way, or would you run inside like Amina? What do you think you would do?
Share, like, and subscribe to this YouTube channel